Thank you for tuning in to an episode of InRange. This is day 2 of Hard as Hell 2 Gun 2018. If you haven't been watching, we had 6 stages yesterday at day 1, wearing this fantastic kit. Day 2 makes it an even more interesting challenge. We just walked our third of a mile from our car, which is trooper requirement, saddled up in this stuff, and at first when I got up this morning I was like, yeah, I'm doing alright, and then I put all this stuff on, and then I get over here and I'm like, nah, I'm not doing all that alright. How do you feel?
I woke up feeling actually kind of sick from breathing in all the dirt on the range yesterday.
Radioactive dirt, we hear.
Yeah, so I borrowed some allergy meds from one of our squad mates, and starting to feel better from that. But
I started with caffeine pills and L-theanine, which is, by the way, a biohacking stack, which allows you to get a little bit more energy without getting jittery. That's a whole other conversation. So I'm in good spirits, but I feel putting this stuff back on was just like... Ugh. Anyways, here we are. Want to remind you about Dixie Waste Services, you know, the #1 sponsor for InRange, as well as, of course, being pulled by the strings of Cav Arms, GWAX, KE Arms, and others, which is why Phagan's here. But what we wanted to talk about was, yesterday we didn't do this in day 1, introduction about some of the other gear we're using. So we're an armored trooper. Trooper is where you carry all of your shooting accessories and gear and ammunition throughout the entire match. Armored trooper is where you double down on the dumb and put on plates. So what are you doing?
I have a Faro Concepts Slickster plate carrier with United Armory steel plates.
Steel, AR500 plates?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Because I'm too cheap to go buy real armor plates. I tried to get us some ultra lightweight rifle plates from one of our industry contacts. Unfortunately, that didn't happen.
I don't understand with your extensive ability to pull the strings.
You know, sometimes they just don't see the benefit of being present in media. So
fair enough. All right.
That's unfortunate. Those were the plates that I wore at Desert Brutality that saved me about 12 pounds off my weight.
How much were those plates? Are those plates, I should say?
I think they're around $700 or $800.
No, but how much? No, that's cost. How much do they weigh?
2.2 pounds.
And they're level 4?
They are special threat 7.62 by 3.9.
Okay, fair enough. All right, cool. So at Slickster, it's a very minimalist plate carrier, and then you load a load-bearing vest on top of that.
Right. I just found that it rides better for me doing it that way. This is the Whiskey 24 Practical Integrated Modular Platform System, aka the PIMPS, and you have modular.
Really? The PIMPS?
Yeah. You come up with a name and and make an acronym around it.
Fair enough. Yeah. Okay.
It has modular panels, so I can swap out this front panel for subgun or 308 or shotgun mag or whatever. Then I have 2 general utility pouches on the sides. Most of my loose ammo is in these pouches. I have this one's all full of my pistol ammo. This one's all full of my rifle ammo and extra mags.
So we have to carry all of the ammunition we need for the entire day on our person throughout the course of fire. And you've done that through side pouches, not through a backpack. Right.
I wanted to stay slick on my back, so going under some of these obstacles wasn't an issue.
Sure.
On my belt, I have 2 Kydex pouches for 33-round Glock mags.
Yep.
The pouch back here has a coupled 30-round PMag in it for my rifle. On this side, I have the Weepley II Chuck Wall holster to fully protect the pistol when it's inside there and protect the optic. And this is a very old Spec Ops brand gunfighter belt that ties into your pants belt, and I have it supported with suspenders.
Where's your med kit?
I don't have a med kit for this.
Doesn't seem like a good idea, does it?
We're at a match. I don't care.
Okay. Let me go into where I'm at. So this is the Varsadog, which was a Finnish company plate carrier used by some of the specialists in Finland. Purchased this through Varasteleka, along with ceramic hybrid plates, which are lighter than your plates. They're a little thick, but they are lighter. They conform to my body quite well. I'm very happy with this carrier, although I want to say, and this is not a promotional item, it's just the reality, this thing has some really cool concepts. It's got these zippers on the side where, until they break, they're excellent. You can change these panels off and change out the gear. This is a less minimalist plate carrier than Phagan's using. I really like the way it rides. This is one of the best ones I ever really experienced when I was over visiting my Finnish friends in Finland. They were talking about this carrier, and one of the guys there had used it in some more dynamic environments, and I got to try his on, and boy, I put it on, I was immediately impressed by this carrier. It's got a day pack on it, which is different than what Phagan's doing. All of my gear and stuff is in this day pack. If you have a buddy around in a buddy system like we were doing yesterday, I could turn around and be like, give me 3 boxes of 5.45 and 2 boxes of 9mm. That works out really well. But if you need to get into your day pack as an individual and you're on your own, you have to take all of this off to get into it. So if you got people around, which in a military environment or match environment, I can just kind of turn around and have people get stuff out. Taking this on and off is not a good idea, because the minute you take it off, the decompression starts and you can feel your spine expand and you gain another ½ inch of height. And when you don't want to put it back on. You just don't. Taking that on and off is worse than just dealing with it.
And that's a good point. A lot of the times at these events, you really don't want to take your gear on and off throughout the day because it makes you feel worse.
It does, it does. I'm just using a standard battle belt here. This is the Brokos little VTAC thing. I really like this. I've got some extra mags here because of the fact that I'm half the magazine capacity for the pistol than you. I have to have at least 5 of these, so I've got the tacos and 2 here. People ask, have you accidentally drawn the wrong magazine in the course of fire? I have not, but I have seen people do it, so it does happen. These are tacos. I got a 45, a couple 30s, one more 30 in my back pocket. I was trying to use the Puff Gun 60 quad stack, which was working fine at 4 to 5 matches before this. Stage 1 of yesterday, it had multiple malfunctions, and that's going to have a very interesting future InRange video. One other thing I do want to bring up, and you can't really see this on film as much, is the pants that I'm wearing. I was for a while using the Cry Precision Combat pants, and they're very expensive with integrated knee pads. And then I was at one of my local stores, and they have these Caterpillar construction pants. They're literally for construction workers. You can pull the pockets out. There's multiple pockets, water bottle, integrated knee pads. I like these better. They're like for like construction workers. They're more durable. They're more comfortable. They look a little bit more like normal pants. They kind of got that Gorka Russian look. I'm going to do a full video on these freaking Caterpillar pants which aren't even meant for shooting. They're awesome. I like them better than the Cry. Sorry, Cry, but you're going to see a video about that as well. So, and then of course, also a Chuck Walla holster, inspired by you there, Phagan, from We Plead the Second, for protecting this Hudson 9. And the Chuck Waller has worked really well. The only thing I would say about the Chuck Walla is I would prefer it to ride a little lower on my hip.
Which is the model I have.
Yeah, and I don't. So I have this crazy like kind of draw. But other than that, that's the gear we're using for today. So now we've got 3 stages for score today, and then 1 sort of like relay stage, which isn't appropriate to our total score. Yesterday for me was not a dumpster fire, kind of tugboated through, kind of just right in the middle ground, which is exactly what I expected. You did very well. Today we got 3 more stages to find out what happens. So stay tuned for what would be stage 7? Stage 7 of Hard as Hell 2018 two-gun. It's at this position with their rifle loaded with only 2 rounds, one in the chamber, one in the magazine. There are 2 targets at about 240 yards, way the heck down there. You only get those 2 rounds. If you don't hit them, those are considered a miss. You then sling the rifle and move down this position into the pistol area. Once you get within the blue fault lines, you then draw your pistol and start engaging steel targets. 1 hit on each small target. There's an activator here, which will then activate that. That's a timing issue. You'll see that later. Over here, more targets. Again, 1 hit on each pistol target. Moving through this barricades. As you're going, more pistol targets, more pistol targets, more pistol targets. More pistol targets. Once you get to this start box, you drop your magazine so you have 1 round left in the gun, and you get to engage that hostage target with 1 round. Then you move up this ladder. Your pistol at this point is dry. Once you move through this cutout, from here you reload your pistol and you engage these 2 long-range steel targets with 1 hit each with your pistol, abandon the pistol in this box. Then you move to these posts, load your rifle, and from a multitude of posts, you engage those long-range targets with 1 hit each. Body or rifle must be touching the post in that process.
Are you ready? Stand by. Drop the mag. You have 1 target.
What?
1 more target on the left. Drop the mag. Holster. Go.
Oh.
Pistol first. Hit. 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 There's no shoot order.
Left to right.
Left to right. Be sure that you're touching. Hit. Long.
Come up.
Still low. Just move on, dude.
Leave it.
Okay, gully. Just a gully target.
Yep.
Hit.
Hit.
Right side.
Hit. 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 Are you ready? Stand by.
Was a hit.
Hit, yeah.
Good job, Russ.
You have one more on the left. Drop the bag. Holster. Okay, you'll be shooting pistol first. Hit. 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 Left to right.
Goalie.
Gully first. Hit. Long range.
Long range.
Hit. 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 Left to right. Left to right. Hit. Hit. Hit.
All right, so we just finished stage 7, first stage of day 2. This was a very daunting stage in terms of the long-range rifle engagements. These targets were significantly small enough that I don't know what you think. Engageable with a red dot? I don't know. I don't think the flasher would have been.
I think a skilled, limited shooter could do it.
Yeah.
But you have to use visual tricks to do so. You're more looking for, like, you know where the target is, and like sweeping the dot up and above it.
Now you freaking rocked this. You cleaned it.
Yeah.
Apparently, I didn't even realize it. At the first position, I got one of them, but not the other. And then when we got bound to the longer range area, I just went to war with that swinger at like 385 or whatever it was, 370, and had nothing to do with visual acuity. Had nothing to do with stability. I was actually pretty stable. I had a good sight picture, good trigger press. What I was dealing with was, quite honestly, the mechanical accuracy of not the gun so much as the ammunition. One of the things that's a huge deficiency with running a 5.45 gun, at least in the United States, I don't know about anywhere else, is that the ammo options available to you are pretty much shit, to be blunt. You got tool ammo, Wolf, you can get some SERP like 7N1 or whatever, but guess what? You can't shoot that at a match.
Right.
And so what you're limited to is, you know, Russian, Eastern European block, Crazy Ivan in every box ammo. And so while I was aiming at that, like you were watching it through the camera, and I'm like, here's the target. I'm like, two, poo, chew, poo, t, two, and I'm like getting higher and two, all around it.
There's no consistency to it.
No, and there was nothing to track, and I was holding the same picture for multiple shots in a row. What happens with that is if you can call your shots, if you shot enough to call your shots, and I could call the shots with this, I'm pulling the trigger going, this should have been a hit, this should have been a hit, this should have been a hit, this should have been a hit. Okay, I screwed that one up, this should have been a hit. And it's like it's not happening. You're dealing with something that's above and beyond whatever's going on. And bringing a gun like this to this environment is I would say a optimistic thing. Not because the gun, but because the ammunition is the problem. And I don't know how to fix that. At one point, Hornady was making good 5.45, and I believe they've stopped. And even when they did, it was like really expensive. So to ring what this gun's capable of is almost impossible in this market unless you reload 5.45. And reloading 5.45 is a whole other nightmare. Now, you shot this clean.
Yeah, I was honestly surprised I got those first two targets. I used a 50-yard zero. They were at 240 yards, so I just held like middle high. And I didn't have any wind I was dealing with at all. The later shooters in our squad said they had a little bit of left or right wind going on out there. I didn't have anything, and the only one I really needed to send some extra rounds at was that 360-yard one. And I started off hitting low and just held higher and got it.
So on that note, I would actually say that this 1-4 scope is beyond the capacity of this gun with the ammo. Like, you might as well not have a 1-4 because the distance that you're engaging at is irrelevant. Like, this gun is capable to, with this ammo, reasonably capable to 2. After that, it starts becoming Hail Mary.
Yeah, you got the 200-yard targets and in fairly easily. But the further ones, you can see that your pattern just opened up.
It just opens up into a mess. So that's the reason to bring stuff like this, though, is to learn that stuff. And it's interesting. I mean, the gun's capable within generally average combat ranges, but when you extend outside of that, and I would say that some of the target presentations here, being hard as hell, are hard as hell. I mean, these are, I think they're quite small. I mean, I don't know how big those plates are, but they look like tiny targets.
They look like they're smaller than the average flash target of a 3-gun match. I think the average flash target of a 3-gun match is around 10 to 12 inches. I think these were 8.
I think this is an 8-inch target at, what, 340? So think about that, an 8-inch target at 340. Now, if you're shooting high power and you're snapped in with like the perfect gun and perfect ammo, this is a non-issue. But when you're shooting essentially a slightly benefit modified combat rifle with Eastern Bloc ammo, that's it's an interesting and auspicious engagement distance. The What Would Stoner Do rifles would have been pretty good at this, I think.
Yeah, the other thing that really helped me out here was having a bipod that was tall enough to prone out and actually get those further targets.
We talked about that. You shot before I did, and I watched you, and then after you got back, you're like, man, my bipod was just barely long enough. And I looked at my bipod, that lightweight one, and we compared, and I'm like, ain't gonna happen. So I decided to monopod off my 45-round mag in the hopes that would give me enough height. It did. It gave me enough height, but it was a challenge. It was a real challenge. So what I did is I used the sling, my 2-point sling, to the best of my advantage. I kind of tightened it up, and hopefully that helped a little bit.
What do you think about the pistol portion of the stage?
That's cool, actually. I didn't have a problem with that. Apparently I cleaned it.
Yeah.
I had that when there's activator targets like that, you always have to be careful with that. You have to be within your time limits and boundaries, and I decided not to push that, and I just hit it and then went straight to it. Some people hit it, moved, and then hit it, and I'm like, that's not for me. And then I thought it was kind of interesting that they had you drop the mag and then engage that one hostage shot. That was cool.
Yeah.
But then when you got over the side, the pistol targets on the other side of the berm were pretty challenging. Those were far.
Yeah, and it was another case where I think having a dot pistol really
Oh.
made it easier.
I think I did okay on that. I think the pistol went pretty quick, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that wasn't the problem. So, interesting stage. Once again, I'm just kickboating this. I'm like tug, 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 right? So, again, I think I'm squarely in the middle. I think you have a chance to be way up at the top with the way you ran that last stage. Don't you?
Now I think I'm going for top 3 at this match.
I think you are. So, we got 2 more stages for score to go, so stay tuned for more from Hard as Hell 2 Gun 2018.